Hello, both sides of the conversation family. We welcome you to this virtual space crafted especially for you. My name is Jada Curry, and I'm both sides of the conversation's marketing director and graphics design specialist. I want to take some time to ground us all as a community into this space we are about to open up in, so let's go through our community standards. Both sides of the conversation is providing a safe and honest space for open conversation, so we ask that you all be respectful of that. We also ask that you be respectful of each panelist, host, and participant. We do encourage healthy debates and conversations. Don't personalize anything with anyone. This includes name-calling, bullying, trolling, or shaming. This will not be allowed or tolerated. Your perspective is yours. It is not a prescription. You do not have to agree, but show respect. These community standards apply to all of our live shows and any virtual spaces that we hold on social media, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We want to make sure that we are caring for each other as a community. This is our priority in all of our endeavors as both sides of the conversation. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's show and continue to stay in touch with us via YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or all of them. All right, thank you for listening and see you soon.
Welcome everybody to both sides of the conversation. Today is Tuesday. This is another segment of our Hidden Gem segment. We have some phenomenal guests that's coming on today. Just want to say, man, this is going to be powerful for us, connecting with our Latin community. So I'm just excited to have our guest on today. I'm John Henry, Executive Director. I just want to get out a couple of community announcements before we get started. First of all, I just want to say what a phenomenal weekend in San Francisco we had with the National International May Day event. A lot of union workers coming together in solidarity, marching for workers' rights, and a lot of the unions out there in the community. What a phenomenal weekend it was. And then we had our City Eats, our monthly feed, where we fed over 1,300 people in the community. So I just want to give a big shout out to the City Eats, Us for Us, Vibes and Smiles, and there was a number of other organizations that came out. And to our young people, what a phenomenal job for our young people to come out and show out for a community, to give back. It's very important that we keep our young people engaged with those type of events in the community. I just think that it's an enrichment process, and I think it's just good for our young people to see what's going on in the community. And sometimes it just gives them that appreciation to understand that they're blessed. So just want to give a big shout out to all the young people that came out and supported this weekend. And then I want to give a big shout out to my brother Rico, put on a phenomenal event for the Fillmore Block Party. I went out there and showed up. I know the mayor went out. What a way to just continue to get community together. These type of events as we come out this pandemic is important, as we know people have been locked in the house for a long time. So just to get out and socialize and see community was definitely a phenomenal event. And then I want to give a big shout out to my sister Tanish and Tiffany Carter over at SF Black Wall Street. I went out to Tiffany's business this week to support her. Phenomenal restaurant. She is doing some amazing work over there. So please, if you guys get opportunity, go out and support her. 332 Golden Gate Street. Pick up a lunch meal. Support the young sister. Y'all know here at both sides of the conversation, we are about supporting our Black and brown businesses. In tonight's segment, that's what this segment is really about, promoting our Black and brown businesses as well as our community leaders. So we have two phenomenal community leaders tonight, but just wanted to give them that acknowledgement and shout out. And then just want to say prayers to the family, all of the families I know we had in Mexico City, a train derailment that took place where a lot of people's lives were lost. And just want to send prayers out to the people in India right now. There is a big COVID issue going on out there, and just want to put those prayers out to them as well. I know we got hit hard in this country, but just to see some of the things that's happening on the news, how they're being affected, just want to keep our prayers out for them. And, it's very important that in solidarity, we all stick together and work together when we have these type of issues come up. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and happy Teachers Appreciation Week. I almost forgot. Thank you, Tashelle, for reminding me. I want to give a big shout out to all of our teachers. This is Happy Teachers Appreciation Week. I want to say thank you to our paraprofessionals, our teachers, our administrators for doing the phenomenal work with our young people. I know this past year has been a challenge when this pandemic has been here with Zoom and different things of that nature. But just want to appreciate all our teachers. And I hope our families really take this week to thank our teachers and our educators because I know a lot of families, we've been in the house dealing with our young people, and sometimes it's been challenging. So I hope you all appreciate the work that our teachers do, and we want to make sure that we salute them and give them their praise as well, because it's a tough job sometimes with that many kids in the classroom and doing the things they do. So thank you to all our teachers out there. We want to salute you, and at every show this week we'll make sure that we highlight our teachers and our educators and our paraprofessionals. I mean, it's sometimes not the best paid job, and it's always not the job that gets the glorification, but here at both sides of the conversation, we're going to give you all that homage and praise and say thank you to all our educators across this country for supporting our youth. You all are the pillars of our community, especially making sure that our young people get the education needs that they need. So thank you all. Happy Teachers Week, and hope you all are enjoying your week. With that being said, I'm going to have Tashelle go ahead and start introducing our guest for tonight.
Our first guest is Jaime Aragon. He has over 20 years of experience in San Francisco as a nonprofit manager. He works at Good Samaritan Family Resource Center within the agency's Family Services Department. He manages several community partnerships that have helped Good Samaritan grow and reach all over San Francisco. Jaime is a great Samaritan in San Francisco. Welcome to the show. Our next guest is Rodrigo Duran. Rodrigo is an advocate for Latinx cultural preservation. He has earned a bachelor's degree from UC San Diego in communications and a master's degree from the San Francisco State University in public administration, with an emphasis in nonprofit management. He has served as a festival director since 2016 and created safe spaces for the Latinx community to celebrate their culture and languages. Since the beginning of the pandemic, his role has evolved to including the management of the Mission Food Hub operations, which provides 9,000 families with cultural relevant groceries every week. He has served as the marketing coordinator for the Cali 24 Latino Cultural District, where he was instrumental in advocating and promoting the Latino culture asset in the Mission District. In 2020, he had the honor of serving as the Master of Ceremony for the annual City and County of San Francisco Latino Heritage Celebration, hosted by our Mayor, London Breed. Welcome to the show.
All right. Thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you, Tashelle, for getting them all in. I think we're going to go ahead and just start in the first order. We're going to go ahead and start with my brother Jaime over here from Good Samaritans. Welcome to our show. Go ahead and unmute yourself and go ahead and introduce the Good Samaritan to our community and to the rest of the people watching today.
Well, thank you, John. It's an honor to be here with you. Thanks for creating this wonderful space to share with the community and to bring resources. So my name is Jaime Aragon, and I work at Good Samaritan Family Resource Center. And our agency really, has been around in the mission for over 125 years, serving immigrants in the community, specifically in the mission. The center has really been a gathering place for Spanish speakers and immigrants that just come to San Francisco and need to know where resources are. And, we definitely have provide various services. And the mission of the Good Samaritan is to help folks be self-sufficient and have know where to go get the services and the resources that they need to have a thriving family in San Francisco. We do that in various ways. One of the part of the Good Samaritan's philosophy is this two-generational approach to work with not only the adults in the family, but the children and to provide them with the support that they need to be successful in the schools here in the United States and in San Francisco Unified School District. So we start with with preschool. We have a full year preschool that's from 8 in the morning to 5:30 for up to 30 kids. It's a bilingual program, so it really helps the young ones, kind of with both languages, and it serves low-income families, and mainly the center helps low-income, extreme low-income, and low-income families. And there's always family support. So one of the other things is providing support to families, and that happens in various ways. Families sometimes need that extra support through navigating systems that can be complicated if you're not really versed in the language. So we have family advocacies and case management support for families that are having challenges, navigating those systems. We have parenting classes for families. So it could be really jarring for families to come to a new, country and to understand, the systems here. So the parenting classes help families just kind of know how to support their young ones and give them parenting techniques that can help them in maneuver and thrive in the Bay Area. We provide parent interactive classes for families. So for families to have that space with their young ones and kind of learn together and build that bond with their kids outside of the home. So that's the thing that we provide at the Good Samaritan. ESL classes. We provide ESL classes, and our program is unique in the sense that we provide support, toddler and infant support for the families while they're in this classes. So a lot of the time, a big barrier for pursuing learning a new language is sometimes childcare, and so we developed this model where we have a toddler program. It's like a preschool program that families can come and they can have their kids in a toddler program anywhere. The kids can be from anywhere from 18 months to 3 years old, and they can be in their toddler program while mom is learning English. So that's again following our 2-generational approach, and that is it's a great program, and it really helps the children kind of get ready for preschool too. So by the time they're ready for preschool, it's second nature to them. Another thing that we offer at Good Samaritan is youth programs. So a lot of our programs, some of we have youth programs in certain schools all over the city that help with the newcomers that are kind of battling with the language and the culture. And so these youth programs are school based and are voluntary, and the children can get the support that they need through their these groups, through art and through different learning activities and mentorship in these programs. So that's another thing that happens. The other thing that we do at Good Samaritan is we've been, as the mission has gotten very desirable to be, and folks have been displaced, there's been the need to follow the community and provide services in language in other areas of San Francisco. And so we're happy to announce that we've developed a family resource center also in the Bayview that launched a couple of years ago to work with families that have been migrating there, but also integrating services with the existing community there. So kind of again, to this great partnership with the Black community and the Latino community, and providing after school services to both communities, and kind of learning from one another, and building more resources for everyone. So that has been a really great thing that has been evolved in the recent years. We're also provide support services to Bernal Homes, public housing that's in the Mission. We've established resident coordinators there to assist with the community, and provide them and link them to services. There's over 160 households in Bernal Homes, and we're proud to serve them in that community as well. So many things that Good Samaritans involved in.
Wow, phenomenal. I see Cynthia's chiming in. She's saying, "Hey, Jaime." She's out there watching, so that's a cool thing to see community stepping in. I know sometimes when we get started, it takes a while for everybody to come in. But one of the questions I wanted to ask, because I know a lot of our communities were hit during the pandemic as it took off. What was some of the challenges that you all seen at the Samaritan House, and what did you learn from it? Because I know it was like a lot of information that we was learning and gathering. Being able to see what was going on, and now what type of support services has come out of the pandemic, because we all planning and adjusting to going back to reality. But I think the pandemic also showed us some of the areas that we might not have as much strength in, and we need to tighten up. What did you all find while doing the work during the pandemic?
Well, John, it was challenging, right? Because we had to just shut our doors until we kind of figured out what was going on. So what we learned too is just how our community is so resilient, and the creativity in which we all had to kind of pivot and figure out how we were going to serve our families. And it just came to the surface, the need of how hard people were being impacted. The fact that we can't take for granted all these little things that we were providing, and the need for cash assistance, the need for diapers, the need for food, the need for basic hygiene kits, and also the how families really relied on the activities that we were providing for them. Our teachers made up little activity kits for the kids, and people were lining up for those activity kits. They really needed their kids to do something, right? Since they were all housed together, and schools were not open, and all these things. But we also learned that, families were able to connect once we started offering virtual programming, because everything ceased to, for gatherings in the building, and all of the things that I had mentioned before. We had to kind of figure out how to do virtually. So all those parenting classes, all the support groups, all the learning activities, all that was going now virtual. And it was, we learned that there were some folks that needed access to those devices, digital. So we learned that there's a big digital divide that we needed to address, right? So yeah, that we learned, and we had to kind of pivot and figure out how we were going to support folks, and borrow equipment to let people be able to connect. So yeah, those are all learning things that we.
Wow, I'm really glad that you touched on that, because that's one of the things that I've been really advocating for, and trying to work with some of our officials and community leaders. There is a big digital equity gap in our communities, and I'm glad you hit on earlier about uniting and doing things for both communities, for the Black and Brown community, because I'm really pushing for that, because I think overall we are impacted the most when it comes across the board with the disparities on all levels. And what a way if we could really connect and really learn each other and understand the differences, because really it's not too much of a difference, but the language gap at times and some of the cultural things. But I think that's where the education comes in, and having a facility that you guys have over there is important to also integrate, because again, we are all being impacted the same way. And we found the same issues. I mean, especially in District 10. I mean, our young people, and that's why we give them so much praise because they were so resilient through this pandemic with the struggle of Wi-Fi connectivity, having access to computers, being able to log on, being able to have the accounts for Zoom and different things to get on. We really learned a lot. And I'm really hoping that a lot of our community organizations, community leaders, and some of our elected officials really understand so that in the future we can really advocate better because even though we're coming out of this pandemic, this digital divide gap is going to have to be closed because no matter what, the corporations have learned too. People can work from home now, so this stuff is not going away. But I definitely want to make sure that our communities definitely, get that equity and inclusion when it comes to the resources and making sure that we close that gap. But just hearing the work that you all did with the books, I know our the director of Human Rights Commission did a phenomenal job over this past pandemic, getting the books and the education stuff out to the community. And I really praise them for that because I really think as a community, we have to hone in on this education for our young people, very young, as well as our teenagers, and for our elders as well. But they've done a phenomenal job this year getting out information and books to the community and resources and that stuff. So definitely want to highlight that because I think that's important. And I'm glad you all have been doing your part of making sure that these resources and these books and things get to these young people so that they can have something to do, because we also know this is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we know all of our communities have been impacted during this pandemic with this mental health situation and just our young people being in the house all day. A lot of change. So having those activities are very, very important, and just glad that you're a part of the community making this happen. But definitely we have to work together and pulling these communities together.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, so I see comments is coming in. Cynthia's putting out information to the community. Glad that she's out there participating, and I know some of the other people are going in. But moving forward, is there anything that you want to talk about with the Samaritan House moving forward? Some of the programming, I know we're approaching the summertime. I know tomorrow's Cinco de Mayo. There's a lot of other things coming in over the summertime. Is there some plans that you guys have for the kids out in the summer when it comes to work? Because I know a lot of our parents reaching out trying to find work programs and ways they can volunteer. Are those some of the things that you all be offering this summer for our young people?
So thank you, John. So yes, Good Samaritan has been steadily amplifying all the work that they do with youth, and we have a presence at Willie Brown Beacon Center over there, where we have a great team that's providing support to the youth. But on top of that, we have summer programs. So we have 5 different summer programs that we offer, and I've passed on to you some of the flyers so that you could promote them in the community. But we have 5 different ones that we'll be offering. So I would say just call the Good Samaritan to make sure you can get an application right away. The main number is 401-4253, and that we have various programs for school-age children and middle school children. So I would say the best bet is just to call the main office and get right away apply.
Wow, phenomenal. And just for community to know, 100, you said 120 years or 102 years? I want to make sure I got this right.
Yeah. Over 125 years. I think it's 126 being in the mission.
Oh, that's phenomenal. So our watchers that's in the mission, if you don't know about the Samaritan House, please get down there, check them out. Over 125 years of service. That is what we call sustainability, and that's what we want to build our communities together. We need the sustainability for the future, and it starts with programs like this. They have a model. They know how it works, and we need to get behind them and support them. And definitely, Jaime, we'll be getting all of those flyers and information, and we'll start distributing them out to our communities as well. well. And I just want to let everybody know that's watching on our YouTube tonight. I know a lot of people are confused. We're usually on our Facebook page and group, but we have made the transition to YouTube. So the only way you can watch live chat is through our YouTube. But also just want to let community know for our Latinx and for our other communities that are watching tonight. If you go to our website, Both Sides of the Conversation, if you look at the top of our homepage, there is now a Google Translate next to the donate button. You can go ahead and click that button, and our entire website with all of our community announcements and everything will convert into the language that you speak. I think this is going to be very phenomenal, connecting our communities, and we're working on our YouTube so that when people are watching on YouTube, we can get that language barrier closed. That gap closed as well. So please go to our website, click on the Google Translate, whatever language you pick. It'll convert everything into that language so that you could be a part of this. And then moving forward, as we start cleaning up the things here at YouTube, we'll be able to get those added to our YouTube as well, because we want to make sure that all community are getting this information and knowing how to connect. But just want to say thank you again, Brother Jaime, for the work you're doing, coming on tonight, giving up your time for community to kind of, let community know what are you doing. Here at Both Sides of the Conversation, we get a lot of community concerns. They come to us, and we're just hoping that we can unite to help close some of the communication gaps. A lot of times communities are reaching out and saying, hey, I don't know where the services are, or it's nonprofits here and here, but we don't know what they do and things of that nature. And we're just trying to help change that narrative and let people know, hey, these organizations do exist. They are out there. Here's how you get a hold of them. Brother Jaime put the number up. I'll put it up on the screen again. We've been showing it all day. Please reach out to them, talk to them, find out what services you can take advantage of or that you need for the community, because I think that's very important. And definitely we'll get the flyers out to community so this information is circulating, so it's readily available to everybody. But just want to say thank you again for coming on. Looking forward to maybe connecting and doing some things in the future with you all, because that's our goal here, is unite our communities, bring everybody together, because I know the struggles that we all face are kind of the same. And we could do a better job. And I think it's important that you and Rodrigo and Cynthia, different people are coming together, because again, the education part is the key. Again, I can't advocate and hold people accountable if I don't really know what's going on and how it's going on. So it's important for your community and other communities to come together, talk to us, so that we can also be in solidarity and making sure that we're fighting for the things that you're fighting for the things we're fighting for. But if we don't know about it and the community's not educated about it, it's hard to advocate for each other. So I think that's what we're going to do here moving forward, just closing that gap, being able to show up to marches and rallies and signing petitions as a San Francisco community and beyond, just making sure that we are impacting each other across the Bay in Oakland, San Jose. We're just trying to unite the Bay Area and beyond. And it starts with conversations like this and having you all come on and support community. So thank you. If you can hang around, if you have to go, I understand. But if you can hang around at the end, we'll have a conversation. But we're going to go ahead and jump to our next hidden gem tonight. We're going to bring him up and highlight him for a lot of the things that he's doing. You guys heard Tashelle go ahead and announce him. Going to bring up my brother Rodrigo and talk about Carnival and some of the things that he's doing to impact community, and looking forward to hearing some of the things that he has for community as well.
John, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. So my name is Rodrigo Duran. As John said, I'm a San Francisco Mission District native. I, was raised on 20th and Cap for the most part. And, I'm really privileged to call San Francisco my home, call the Mission my home, because, it's really shaped my worldview and has really kind of made me the person I am today. And I really want to take this time, obviously we're going to highlight Carnival San Francisco, but I want to use a different lens, I want to use a different lens because for those that are in the know of what Carnaval is, first of all, not all San Franciscans know about Carnival San Francisco. Let me start there. It is the largest and longest running multicultural festival in California. We bring in about 400,000 people every year. It's always on Memorial Day weekend, except for last year because of COVID. And we'll talk about that. But really what I want to focus on is the type of healing that we do in the community through culture. And, I've actually prepared some information, some slides, because I want to take this time to do that. I think it's really important because when we look at Carnival and we talk about Carnival, for those that go, We tend to just focus on the aesthetics of it, which is beautiful, right? You have the women in their samba costumes, and you have the men doing Aztec dance, and you have the Afro-Cubans, and that's great and all. And I think you all can see that if you go on our social media platforms and you go on our website. But really, I want to dig deep, and I want to take you all on a ride so you can see like the other side of Carnival San Francisco. And when John was saying about the impact, like where does the impact really takes place? Because most folks is like, well, it's just a festival, it's just a parade. What do you all really do? So I really want to take this time, and I appreciate this platform,
Go
to
ahead.
share some of that information.
It's on you. Go ahead. If you click your share screen there and click share, and I'll pull it up and give you. There we go, right there.
There we
So
go.
I see it. I'll add it to the screen, and then you could just go ahead and walk community through it.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool. So, we really rally behind the statement "La cultura cura," and translated means "culture heals." In the 1960s, it was a statement that was used during like the civil rights movement, mainly in places where Latinos reside in San Francisco, LA, Chicago, New York, and the meaning behind it was to really put culture front and center in all the work that we do when it comes to advocacy. And so the way that it began to look was, in the artwork, in the murals, in the music. Oftentimes in American, Western, or European societies, you hear and you know that healing or mental health is always compartmentalized, right? If you have an issue going on, you go to the hospital, then you go to your therapist, then you do this. Well, in a lot of like Latino or indigenous or African diasporic communities, culture is in front and center, and we rally behind it and we heal behind it, So I really want to highlight some of those assets that we use, these cultural assets that we have not only in the mission, but in San Francisco as a whole. And what are those assets, right? Cultural assets, we're talking from businesses, right? Local businesses in the Latino culture district and beyond. We're talking about the muralist. We're talking cultural assets are our residents, because we all carry stories. We all carry a different type of knowledge that in Carnival San Francisco, we give a platform for all of those different stories and for all of those different experiences to be highlighted, right? This is just a little, don't worry about the host. We already talked about that, and I kind of go deep into some of who we really are and how we really like to present ourselves within our Carnival circle. So like you see, our mission is to cultivate and celebrate the diverse Latin American, Caribbean, and African diasporic roots of the mission, and also the San Francisco Bay Area. And we accomplish this mission through dance, through música, the visual arts, and by creating these spaces. And that's what's really key, creating spaces for community learning, school-based education, and advocacy. We pride ourselves in saying, we're gonna own this space, even if it is just for 2 days, even if it is for this event. We as people of color, as Latino, Black, Polynesian, we take up this space and we say, we're gonna represent ourselves the way we wanna be represented, right? And have fun. Honestly, Carnival is about fun. And I can't stress that enough, but everybody knows about the fun that there is in Carnival. They don't sometimes realize that there are so many values instilled in that. And you can see a lot of our values in our culture. And some of those in Carnival is one, interconnectedness through art and family. Strong artisanal businesses in our community. We know when that business, it can be from arts and craft to that taqueria, leaves or it gets, evicted or displaced. That's a space that could have been used for engagement, for community activism, and no longer is there, right? So we really, really appreciate, and we make sure that we always connect with our local businesses. Cross-cultural relationship is key. We may not be the largest like Rio de Janeiro. We're not the Colombians. We're not the Trinidad and Tobago carnivals, right? Or even the Mardi Gras here in the United States. But we are the most multicultural carnival you'll find. And so really bridging all these different gaps, maybe when it comes to color of skin, histories, languages, You know, that's super important for us. That's how Carnival was born, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. The healing power of cultural connection, reconnection, and reclaiming. Some of us from Latin America come over here, we lose, you know, part of our identity to become American, but Carnival kind of keeps us rooted to who we are. We know that from the Black community that comes to Carnival, they find themselves rooted back into their you know, diaspora roots, and it's beautiful to see that, and not only for the adults but the children as well. And then of course the intersection between the art and activism. You know, now we use the term artivism, but man, we're at Carnival, we've been using that term without even knowing it existed. We've been always, you know, working with art, you know, dancing in the streets, protesting, or just, you know, mocking politicians sometimes, for the sake of, you know, reclaiming what's ours or what should be ours. And of course the importance of revelry. That means like the importance of having fun in a spiritual context. So you see, the one thing that people forget or maybe don't realize if you're not part of this Carnival family or circle is that when you see one of those Baiana ladies from Brazil, you know, with her big dresses, you know, and a head wrap, and she's doing a certain dance, she's invoking some of the Orisha ancestors with her. You know, there's a story behind that. When you see an Aztec dancer wearing their regalia and feathers, you know, the feathers represent the connection between this earth and the spirit, you know, and the people dancing is also a form of kind of calling those spirits. So as you see people parade at Carnival, know that there's a lot of layers to what they're doing. And it's not just the costume that they're wearing. It's a lot of history that's woven in every single stitch. So we want to make sure that people know that, hell yeah, we're having a good time and we're partying, and, you know, we might have some even something in our system to keep us moving, but there's always a spiritual context behind it. And volunteers are super key. We couldn't do this without volunteers. Every year it's like 500 of us that are strong, and so we always ask for support. You know, we don't know when the first Carnival happened. This is a hot topic. It's debatable because in '78, you know, the West Indies community in the Western Addition like put on a Carnival over there. But if you ask anyone from the mission, the real Carnival started in 1979 at Presida Park by Panamanian Adela Chu on the right, and on the left was our first Grand Marshal, Sir Lawrence from Oakland. So, you know, you get all these mixed messages, but at the end of the day, you know, it is Carnival. It's this beautiful melting pot of traditions, languages, backgrounds, and cultures. And we decided to do it on May. But this is before my time, and I found out it's because the weather sucks in San Francisco. So people were doing Carnival in San Francisco because Carnival is generally celebrated in February around the world. But you got rain, you got the fog, you got the wind, you know, people with like mascara and dresses and headpieces said, no, we can't do this as much as we love celebrating February. So that's why we do it in May. You know, we keep the spirit alive, even though it's in a different month. May's a little warmer, so that's why. You know, our 2-day festival, 17 blocks, bunch of music, food from Latin America, a lot of vendors, a lot of stages, DJs, and over 300,000 people, and it's free. You know, we've been asked so many times, and I know this from my elders, you know, who've been directors of Carnival. It's like, we should start charging people. But you know what? We realize that we are a multi-generational community, a multi-generational organization, and we want that same experience for all the families, you know, especially the low-income, you know, underprivileged communities and families that sometimes can't bring all of their families to celebrate at a festival that charges 15, 20, 30, 40 bucks. So we keep it free, but you know, at the events, we bring a bunch of different artists. You know, if you're aware of the Latin scene, you recognize a few of these folks. You know, this is not Steve Harvey over here, by the way. He is a Venezuelan master of salsa, but he could be his cousin. I don't know. But the point is, we bring all these like world-class artists to perform for free, you know, to make sure that the traditions stay alive. You know, whether you call it Latino, whether you call it Afro-Latino, whether you call it Black, whether you call it American, You know, we are Carnival San Francisco, and we represent so many different backgrounds. But here's the catch. We have these amazing events and all these performances, you know, with music, but a big reason why we do this is to provide resources. And a lot of folks don't realize that because it gets swept under the radar, right? We do it so smoothly. We're like, yo, we're having this big party with all these musicians come through. But we have a health and wellness pavilion at Carnival. It's like a whole block, 40 health and wellness providers show up, you know, from DPH to UCSF and so on and so forth, to give all these resources in the languages that people speak, right? In the way that people like to be approached. And that's super key when we talk about la cultura cura, or culture healed, right? It's how do we find culturally relevant ways to speak to our people, right? To educate them and provide the resources. We have an employment pavilion. You know, we partner with OEWD often, and we bring all this employment to in front of the people, especially now during COVID, where folks are having to, I don't know, reimagine their career or just even a job. So having all those resources is so vital, and it's really a big reason why we love to attract so many people. Yes, it's the music. Yes, it's the party. But at the end of the day, we know we're also serving our people in a really constructive way. The Grand Parade is like the gem, right? I consider the festival the beast. And then you have the parade, which is the beauty. And I could have started with the parade, right, to glamorize everything, but I really wanted to center and focus in on a lot of that work. But the parade is huge as well. We represent all different countries from Latin America, the Caribbean, and the African diaspora as well. Thousands show up and participate. And what people don't notice is that these dance groups, what they really are doing, intentionally or unintentionally, is building support systems, you know, creating a safety net that oftentimes we may not be getting from, let's say, the government, or we may not be getting from certain institutions because we don't have access or are not given access to. So we build our own community. We build our own network where if something's going wrong, if there's something wrong with you, man, we're going to start a GoFundMe for you. And we're going to make sure that if you just immigrated from this country, from a country to the United States, we're going to support you, because at the end of the day, it's like family. So that's the other side. You know, you can see the beautiful faces, you know, and the feathers, but behind all that and all those layers is a deep understanding of one's culture, a respect for one another, a little bit of gossip, but that's always fun. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's about staying together and having fun. Just a few photos from different groups. One of our best, most impactful work is through our cultural arts and health education program. And it was piloted in 2002 by someone you all may know, Nancy Obregon, and our executive director. And it was created really to serve underrepresented public schools in the Mission and also the greater San Francisco. And we realized that there was an educational gap. And oftentimes the blame was put on the students, the Black and brown students, the blame was put on the Black and brown parents, but we never really assessed, or the city never really wanted to assess what was the root cause of it. And honestly, some of them just couldn't connect with what was being taught. You know, some of the music, or whether it be the math or the history, just didn't relate to me, didn't relate to them. So through this program, we brought artists and residents to the school, right? To teach them about, so if we have a history class, well, we're gonna learn a little history from Latin America, we're gonna learn a little history from Africa, and we're gonna talk about how it really relates to who you are as a person. And we're gonna empower who you are. And by the way, we're gonna bring some drums. We're gonna teach you arithmetic, we're gonna teach you mathematics through drums, polyrhythms, you know, how to create a drum symphony, and all these different skills that oftentimes we don't get to really fine tune, not because we don't have the capacity to do it, but just the way that it's presented is oftentimes not culturally relevant. And that's what's so key about this program that we have. And since 2002, we've had this program in 13 schools and served over 9,000 students who at the end of the program, which begins in February, ends in May, they join the Carnival Parade. So it's like this buildup of anticipation of creating music, making your costume, getting your parents to be involved in your schooling process, getting your teacher really know who you are, right? And connecting where you want to be connected. And then join Carnival as a contingent, right? As a school. That really is the most impactful thing that I believe we do, because I'm a product of Carnival. I'm a Carnival baby. And so I went through these programs, and I'm here to say, I think we did good. So, I just want to share a quick, 2 minutes. You might all know.
To show up for this year's Carnival Parade.
But 40 years ago, it was a much different kind of celebration. KPIX5's Joe Vasquez shows us.
That's me right there in the white dress. I think I was 19 years old.
Nancy Obregon, a visual arts teacher at Willie Brown Middle School.
Today, we're going to work on our mask.
Was there at the very first Carnival San Francisco in the Western Edition, a small, intimate gathering.
40 years of Carnival, I believe I've only missed one.
In 1979, KPIX5 was there as Carnival moved to Presida Park in the Mission District with about 500 participants. Now, in its 40th year, Carnival has grown to become the largest multicultural celebration on the West Coast, drawing thousands of parade participants and hundreds of thousands of spectators. Nancy says she still gets that same thrill as she approaches 24th Street on Parade Day.
As exhausted as you are from making costumes down to the last sequin, the minute you hear the roar of the drums and the music and the excitement and the color and the people, that's it. You're hooked forever.
Carnival here brings people together that normally would never be together. The comparsas, the groups, it becomes part of your extended family.
The comparsas, says Roberto Hernandez, have grown to become extended families of their own. There are now dozens of them. This year's Carnival Parade on Sunday has 86 individual entries. A far cry from those early days when they struggled to get the city to even schedule a day for the event.
I remember I was in the room one day and he said, so it's like an amusement ride?
No, that's Carnival. Yeah. This is Carnival.
Yeah.
Carnival is usually celebrated as a Catholic pre-Lenten festival in February, but here in San Francisco, organizers were only able to get a permit in the month of May, so they ran with it, and it has become a Memorial Day tradition. One that brings together cultures from throughout the Americas, with contributions from Native American, African, and European music, language, and dance. Will it live on to see another 40 years?
I don't see this going away, to be honest with you. I hope not. I think it's the most unifying event, personally, in the city of San Francisco.
Joe Vasquez, KPIX5.
And I wanted to share that clip to summarize Carnival San Francisco and what we've done for 40 years and what we continue to do. When we thought everything was great, we had our 40th, we had our 41st anniversary in 2019. Boom, we get hit with COVID, right? Smack in March. We realized we're not going to have a Carnival in May. And so my executive director talked to our Carnival team and realized we're going to have to pivot. For a month in March, he was already providing food from his garage to 500 families because they were unemployed all of a sudden and food was just so essential. He realized that we needed to grow in capacity. We needed to really find a center. So he pulled together all his knowledge, all of our Carnival relationships and resources from the city, resources from the community and nonprofits. And what we created was the Mission Food Hub, which is now on 701 Alabama Street, It was founded in May. Tomorrow is our 1 year anniversary. We started on Cinco de Mayo, providing 2,000 grocery boxes to Latinx families. They're culturally relevant boxes. And since then, a year later, now we're providing 9,000 families every week with these boxes. And it's not even solely to the Latinx community in the mission, is Latinx outside of the mission, and also the African American community, the Asian Pacific Islander community, the Native American community. So we have now several satellites. And the goal is to make sure that there isn't food insecurity during the COVID pandemic, because we know those that have been impacted are mainly people of color, our folks, and we want to be there for them to serve them the way they want to be served, right? In the culturally appropriate foods they want to eat. And that's always been the approach. Like I said in the beginning, culture heals. At the very center of everything, whether it be Carnival San Francisco or now the Mission Food Hub, we're constantly putting culture front and center. And in the middle of the pandemic, we did a resource fair. We had a resource fair with the same kind of employment and health information and resources that we've had in the past. We've distributed free groceries, educational resources, and we did this in the middle of it, right? And we did it, you know, with all the protocols for COVID. We had artists perform socially distanced. We had COVID-19 testing, and we tested over 400 people. And all in all, it was done as a community, in community, for community. And we're gonna do that again this year, actually this month on May 29th and 30th. We're doing another resource fair. The city's opened up a little bit more, so I'm happy that we're gonna be more comfortable, but we're not out of this yet, right? We're not out of the ripple effects of this COVID-19 pandemic. So again, a job fair for anyone that wants employment. So we're going from Target to like the cannabis industry to, you know, you name it, Goodwill to tech companies, all coming over here so that you can apply for a job if you need one. Of course, we're gonna have COVID-19 vaccines available for anyone as well. We're gonna have some lowriders to spice things up, a little bit of música. Again, we wanna keep this fun, but we wanna keep this informative. And at the end of the day, you know, only we can help ourselves. So I just wanna leave you at that. I do wanna ask for some help. You know, if you wanna donate, please donate to the Mission Food Hub, because food is our main priority right now. If you wanna volunteer, you can volunteer both at the Mission Food Hub. You can hit me up later. I know John's got all the whereabouts of where to locate people. If you want to volunteer as well at Carnival for the 2 days, holler, or go to our website, carnivalsanfrancisco.org, and just follow us. If you can't do any of the above, just share our content, you know, share our message, because at the end of the day, it's your message, you know? We're really speaking through you. So I just welcome all y'all to join in the fun, join in the empowerment, because, you know, we got to do this together. That's it.
Wow, phenomenal. I'm glad you put that presentation up. It was well worth it. I'm gonna tell you a couple of reasons. One, I was born in 1979, so way to go to know that in 1979 the birth of something amazing took off. So I'm excited to know that. The second thing is I appreciate the PowerPoint slide, because it definitely gave me a different perspective and educational background that I was missing. And this is why I'm saying these type of conversations are very important, because a lot of times as community, we show up, right? There's a function. Now, I've been going to Carnival. I missed a couple years, but I've been every year, right? I'm always fascinated with the dancing. Like all my life, I've been trying to salsa dance, but I have 2 left feet, so I can never get it down. But I'm always fascinated with the body of the dancing and the arts of the dancing, and then the art. And I know you honed in a little bit, but the food, definitely the cultural stuff that takes place. But I think what you just gave me was just a real insight of like a little bit more in depth of what it is, because a lot of times when we don't get that information, again, people just see a bunch of people out in the streets partying, like what's going on, and show up and really don't know what's really going on and, you know, where it's rooted from and how does it impact community. And I think you hit on a very powerful point, because I think in the Black and brown community, especially when it comes to education, definitely we learn different. So to hear you talking about the mathematics with the drums, and I've watched some of these YouTube videos of some of the teachers across the country that use music and different things to help our kids, become more savvy in their education. And I think this is great conversation. We just had our educators on a week ago. We had our Black educators coming on talking about some of the difficulties and some of the things that's happening with the education. And we all agree that American education needs to change, especially for the Black and brown community, where it displays history, some of the false and narratives, and some of the truths that need to be put out for community. But I think when we're talking about our communities and educating our young people, definitely there's a curriculum change that needs to happen to really impact our young people and how we learn and how we access these educational levels through the different processes, like you talked about, drumming and different things, because I think our kids learn different. And I think we have to look into that. And I think our education system has did a disservice to the Black and brown community when it comes to curriculum and how they present the education materials to our community. So I just want to thank you for highlighting that, because I think that was very, very important. I'm glad you put that up. And, now more people, as they go on our YouTube and our website to rewatch these videos, I mean, that was a good historic lesson there. That was class right there. You just put us in session, and it just really put me in a different perspective now, going to support. And with saying that, our Sunday conversation is usually on 2 to 4, and I will be out there. So our community, I'm coming
Come
out
on Saturday, man.
We're going to try to do this live. So we're still working out the logistics of how we're going to do this. But I'm trying to get both sides of the conversation team out at Carnival where we can be live, broadcasted live. So I'm glad you're here.
Let's do it. Let's do it, man.
So I have to
put you
connect.
on,
We have to connect, because I got to get my media pass so I can get in there and go
I'll
live.
get you, man. And a Carnival shirt to go,
right. But I think one thing that I really took from this too, and I think is very important that we just re-highlight, that you said that you all don't charge for this. And I think that's a very powerful thing, because a lot of times in our community, everybody want to monetize, and I understand it takes money to do things, but just having that understanding that this is why we don't. But there's other ways that we could get community leaders and activists and people to support, and I definitely want to be a part of that, making donations and things of that nature, because I think it's important to keep these functions going. Definitely, I know you guys get the support from the city and different things, but with this COVID, and with our communities, Black and brown communities, being hit the hardest with employment issues and things of that nature, and business being affected from COVID, I think there is some way that community can, do some donations to support, especially like the food drives that you're doing a part of. I mean, I think that's just huge. And, like I told Brother Jaime earlier, please give me all of those flyers, both sides of the conversation, figure out how we could be a part, help bring community. And, I've been talking about some of this mental health, wellness type of events as well. So since you already have a basis, and we know that, in the D10 and across the city, our Latin community is moving in all of the communities. I'm really looking forward in the future, trying to put on some type of wellness events for both sides of the conversation. We can get some massages and different things, therapy out there. But I would love to, after this, connect with you a little bit more and figure out how we can help out, especially just for getting the information out to the community, because I think that's important. But wellness is a big thing. And I want to connect with some of the vendors and stuff, so we can get them to come on our educational Thursdays to help educate the community. That's what that platform is really for on Thursdays, to really help educate our community and get that information out. So I'm just proud of you. I'm glad you're here. They told me you was coming. They said the heavy hitters are coming, you and Jaime. And I'm just blessed and honored to be here with you all, because I know how important culture is to our Latin community as well as Black community. And again, when you talked about interchanging, I learned so much about, Afro-Latin stuff just over the time in San Francisco. I didn't even learn this stuff in school. And how do we get to a point where we educate our community on the true history and how some of these lines cross each other, and really, breaking down those myths, because it's a lot of lies that's told about our cultures, and there's a lot of similarities and things in our DNA that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but we need to have those conversations.
That was really you know, the first school where they implemented this program was at Leonard R. Flynn, and it was like evenly broken up between Black and Latinos, and there was conflict. There was conflict among the students, and it was not until we came in with this program and talked about our histories, right? You know, they brought in some Cubanos, right? Some Cubans playing drums, and you know, no one was like, whatever. And then they spoke Spanish, and then the Black folks were like, what the, like, this cat's over here speaking Spanish. Why are you speaking Spanish? And the Latinos were like, oh, he's speaking Spanish. How do you speak English? You know? And then that's when there was that moment where things clicked, right? Where our histories are interwoven, where, yes, there are differences, and we got to realize and highlight them differences, but not let it separate us. And when that moment came, not only were the students then getting along better, but also the parents were getting along better because they realized there was this common ground. And then it became food became a common ground, and then some music. And so again, we create these platforms for those conversations to be had. So I love like the name of your show, Both Sides of the Conversation, because that's really what happened.
Man, definitely. And I'm gonna tell you how important, you know, this history and teaching this information, because, you know, I was a young lad growing up in San Francisco. I grew up in Hunters Point, D10. But, you know, we always, you know, crossed through Army Street, Cap Street, Alabama, 24th and Mid Street. I had a lot of friends on the 24th. And the mission and the culture part, like you said about Carnival, so many different backgrounds, so many different things, was the first time. And I grew up in San Francisco. I went through the San Francisco education system, and I didn't understand. People as dark as me spoke Spanish. So I started meeting Cuban people, and I'm trying to talk to them, and they like, I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? You know, and that was the first time in my own city I had that culture shock. Like, wow, you know, these Latin speaking brothers look just like me, but they really speak, you know, Cuban and different languages, and I'm just like, oh man. So it tripped me out, and it just brought me full circle to like really having to educate myself about the community. And that's the blessing that we have growing up in San Francisco. So many different cultures. We so diverse here. You get to learn about so many different communities. But when you start interacting and you start finding out, like you said, how we are woven together, so many things in our cultures are really alike. It's just different in certain things, but it's really all together. And I mean, it's just fantastic. You know, it's just fantastic just to learn stuff. And definitely, the drums just brought me there. You know, it's just like the African culture, the drumming, the dancing. So for me, it was always a natural. So when I went to Carnival, you know, it's just like you just feel it. It's the vibration, you know.
And
like,
you just start not
right. You just start going.
It's like, I don't know what this samba guy is saying, but he's moving. And you know, and vice versa, man. Like I'm always learning, obviously, you know, about all the different cultures within Carnival. You know, we also have groups that are like a mix of like funk and Brazil, right? They're called samba funk, and all of a sudden you create a hybrid and like a new form of music. All of that can happen in Carnival. And then you have some Japanese cats that are dancing better salsa than I do. It's like, whoa, why do you want to dance salsa? And then they talk to me about their relationship with maybe a certain Latin American country. So we're building bridges, right? And yes, the main emphasis is Black and Latinos, but Carnival accepts all. And you see that, bro. You see all the colors, all the backgrounds, sexual orientations, everyone's in there, rich, poor. You know, you're all the same when you're dancing in the parade, or even when you're a spectator.
Man, definitely.
That's what's cool. That's what's cool.
Shout out to our Japanese in the city. They are really culturally broad when it comes to like hip hop and definitely our Latin. They are really on it. I had a buddy who was in Japan, and he was live, and he was like, "Look, man, they know all the Bay Area songs," and it was like,
no way.
So it's just weird. Like, it's just like, you know, our cultures are so powerful, and we influence so many people, you know, across this globe. And, you know, I'm just happy to be here with you tonight, and I'll be definitely at the Carnival. We're going to figure this thing out, how we're going to go live. Are we just going to record it and download it? I know our people going to be upset if we don't be on the air, but we're going to figure out how to make this happen, because I want to be out there. I want to be live and catch some of that experience and bring it to the community for people, you know, across the country that may not have experienced Carnival and just, you know, live some of that culture here in San Francisco that we have. I mean, it's a phenomenal event. And, you know, it's a great weekend to do it, Memorial Weekend. I know a lot of people are traveling, but that's the happening weekend. So, yeah, if you all never been out to the Carnival of San Francisco, please come out and check it out. I mean, it is, like he said, arts, it's dance, it's so many things going on. And they do have the stages rocking the mic, making it happen. So,
Socially
definitely.
distanced though.
Yeah,
We're
so
still,
we still have to socially distance. You know, I'm
we still
big
got
on
our mask on, but you know, you can still get high fee, you know. But
no, we have to let them know that we still in a pandemic. I just got my first vaccination shot
nice.
last Wednesday, and you know it did have an effect on me. And you know I've been just trying to educate people, like you will have some of the side effects and be down for a few days, but it's worth it because again we want to, you know, in solidarity make sure that our community is safe. And again, there's a lot of elders, a lot of young people that's coming out to the event, other people with different medical needs, and we want to respect everybody and have the social distance and making sure that we still respect people in space. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad some of the restrictions are lifting. People in city are doing a good job of getting vaccinated at City College, down in the Mission, down in the Bayview, and even in the Western Addition. So I'm hoping that more people get vaccinated before Memorial Day so we can really have a good time and really show everybody, you know, San Francisco and the beauty of our city and how we all come together. So I think we just lost Rodrigo right here. I think we lost him on the stream. But I'm gonna bring up Jaime. I think we lost him. He'll probably log back in because he got kicked out. But yeah, we getting close here to wrapping up. I know it's the end of the show. I'm gonna give him a second to try to log back in, and then we'll just have a quick question and get out of here. And I appreciate you being patient, Jaime. Once again, for you all that's just joining or maybe missed out, you know, Jaime over at Good Samaritan House, they are doing some phenomenal things for community. We just want to make sure that everybody is aware how to connect with them. I did receive. There you go. There you go. You're back. Love that, bro. The button. That's all right. That's how it goes. We was getting hyped. It happens. But I was telling Jaime we are getting close to wrapping up the show. But I wanted to bring both of you all up to ask the question as we close this out. You know, two things. You know, I want to just start with I know we had the incident that took place in Mexico City with the train derailment, killing some people, and just wanted to get you all thoughts on it. I mean, you know, that happened in Mexico, but again, thinking forward to here in this country as well. I know right now our current administration is fighting for infrastructure money, and I think this is just one of the things that we really need to pay attention because a lot of our infrastructure in America is failing, and right before our eyes with our roads, our highways, our transportation, our water systems. I mean, we are impacted heavily, and I hope this just help rise the emphasis of supporting each other, and we have to support our brothers in Mexico as well. But just wanted to hear from you all that. And then the second question, I'm just gonna give them both out, and you guys can answer them however you want, because this is about educating our community, people that is watching. We talked about it earlier about the different identifying our culture and with you all. And I want to make sure that our community gets it right, because I have received people saying that they don't like to be referred to as the Latinx, Mexican, Latino. And I just wanted to have you guys kind of address the right appropriate way, or where is that coming from, or where is it going, so that we can help clear it up if you can. And if you can't, that's fine. But we've got poke different ways about it. And I just want to make sure that, you know, as we try to unite our communities, just making sure that when we do have interactions with the different cultures, that we are appropriately, respectfully approaching each other and saying the right things that makes us all feel like we're united as one. So any one of you can start, whatever way you want to go. Just want to get that feedback from you guys tonight.
I'll just say, I'll just start out by just saying thanks, John, for bringing these topics up. You know, our community, you know, we're a migrant community, right? We have very deep connections in our countries of origin. So I think that, you know, when tragedies like that happen, we do feel them here deeply. And you know, and what you were saying about, like, we got to get prepared. You know, Good Samaritan also does a lot of outreach and really engages the community and tries to build up community leaders. And we call them promotoras, and the promotoras are out there trying to get emergency preparedness information out to folks in the community. So that is a big part of what Good Samaritan does too, is that, kind of replicates that promotora model to kind of like give information out in language to the community. So that's something that, we're very mindful of living in San Francisco, earthquake country. Anything can happen. So not just that, but like when we were heavily attacked by the previous administration, we had to get the word out to how can people protect themselves? What do we need to know? Who do we need to look out for, right? And so the community really did mobilize, and we had some really great efforts, and we still continue to do that. I'll let my brother Rodrigo add anything to the question.
Go ahead.
It's we're far away from Mexico City, but it does hit home sometimes. Like my father's from Mexico City, and I've ridden the train system out there, and I think what's key and one reason folks migrate from Latin America to like the U.S. or other countries is like the government is not really listening to the people, right? After the earthquakes, everybody knew that they had to work on the infrastructure, especially on the train. So it was an ongoing conversation, but nothing was being done. And unfortunately, it's like things are finally done until something catastrophic like this happens. And oftentimes that's what's happening here in the US. I mean, it's not so different. And we see that with the kids being caged, a lot of the children being caged. It's not until people see it in front of their faces and they see the pain and the anger that we go up in arms and say, hey, something should have been done. We should be doing something now. Unfortunately, that's we're a society that's always very reactive instead of trying to mitigate any of those situations from happening. So along those lines, I feel for those families. It could have been any one of my family, to tell you the truth. And then that's how we should really approach it. It could have been my family, whether it be the children in cages, whether it be, a Black brother being shot down by police. It's like, it could have been us. And so we really should look at that in those lenses and empathize, right? And then not only sit down and just think about it, but do something about it.
Wow, I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't want to really go there tonight because I do, after we get off live here shortly, I want to talk to you all about that, because this deportation thing and with our young people being locked up is really affected me. And I've been kind of holding back because I've been waiting to have a conversation about this with community. And I'm not so happy with our administration this first 100 days of addressing this, with our young people being, removed from their families, locked up. It's been too much for too long. But I'm glad you brought that up, because I think, again, we're talking about solidarity. And there's a big campaign, not only in San Francisco, but across the world, when it comes to the solidarity, stopping Asian hate. I know there was 2 women today that was stabbed. And here's my biggest thing, and I just want to say this, and I hope everybody understands where I'm coming from. Solidarity looks like 7 days a week, 365 days a year for all issues. And one thing that I'm getting frustrated is with a lot of the communities is we're not in solidarity on all issues and all events. And it seems that some communities pick and choose when they want to be solidarity when things affect their community. And I want to shift this narrative about solidarity and letting all communities know we all have to come together and stick together for all issues, especially when it impacts our young people, when it impacts our disabled people, when it affects our Black and brown community, our Asian community, our Pacific Islanders, everybody. Because if we don't, what the trend is happening is it always impacts the next community, right? And we don't want people in the community to feel like, oh, well, now it's happening to you all, and you all want everybody to be in solidarity. So I think moving forward, I just hope everybody understands what solidarity looks like. It's all year long. You can't just pick and choose when you want to be in solidarity for one issue. We have to stick together as communities for all issues, because all of these community issues impact us all in some kind of way. And I'm just very, very disappointed in the way the stuff at the border and the wall, all of this stuff. It's really affected me mentally. I have a lot of friends, families that's impacted by this. And I just think as a community, we have to do a better job of supporting each other. And I'm just hoping to get a conversation soon about this so that we can make sure our community and other communities really understand the pain, the struggles that these families are dealing with. And as a country, we have to have a little bit more compassion, humility for what's taking place at the border in these camps with these young kids that's being removed from their family. It happened to blacks back in the days, and now it's happened again. And we have to stop this cycle of removing our children from their families. And it's just a lot. But I'm just glad you said that, because I just want community to know we have to all stick together. And these issues, we got to stick together. And legislatively, how do we all get behind and support? And that's why I said it's important for you all coming on tonight as we start continue to unite these communities, right? We need to know what some of the barriers are and some of the issues so that we can also help advocate. It's things happen faster when we all come together and we stand together on this is wrong, regardless of what community it's affecting. So I just want to keep pushing that. And I'm hoping I can connect with you all and some of the other our Latin communities and really have a conversation about what's going on. And I know the vice president's been assigned to dealing with it, but I'm not so impressed with the administration right now and the urgence of, really rectifying and fixing that situation down there and getting this thing. It's a lot, but just wanted to get that out. I mean, it's a frustrating conversation for me. I know it is for a lot of our viewers, but we will have a conversation about it because I think it's an important conversation to have moving forward. A continued conversation, because I don't think this is a first time a conversation. This been going on to our Latin community for a long time, and it's time for all of our communities to stand beside them in solidarity and make sure they get the things that they need to change this that's affecting them. And I want to be a part of that and marching and advocating with you all as well. So thank you all for coming on. Any last words? I know we're getting close here. You guys been holding up strong with me. But if you have any last words for us, definitely, Jaime, I just want you to know I did receive the email with the flyers. I'll start getting those out to our marketing team tonight, start blasting them on our social media. And then, Rodrigo, if you could give me the stuff that's coming up for May, not only the carnival, but the other food drive and stuff, because I want to make sure that we get it out to the community as well.
Just thank you, John,
Thank you.
time for him. Thank you. It's an honor to be here with y'all.
Hey, thank you all. I
Thank you,
appreciate
John.
it. I know it's dinner time. I see the message. Go enjoy the family. Thank you all for coming on, being our hidden gems. You guys are not so hidden anymore. Community know who you are. Your information's been out there, and we're hoping that they'll be reaching out, supporting you guys and all your efforts moving forward. So thank you all for coming on tonight. I appreciate you all, and I'll be reaching out to you soon.
Great.
All right. Have a good evening. All right, everybody. So we're going to go ahead and close out this show. This Thursday, as you guys heard me early in the segment, we will have another segment of our Educational Thursday. We have another presenter that's going to be coming on, giving the community the sauce, the information, that game that we need, the information that sometimes we don't normally get. So this Thursday, if you could tune in at 6 p.m., we'll have another Educational Thursday. And this Sunday, it is Mother's Day. We are 50-50 on are we going to have a show for Mother's Day. We've reached out to a couple of people who want to come on, who lost their parents, and maybe have a conversation. We're still trying to figure that out. But we will let community know as we get closer to the weekend. This Sunday show might be canceled, but what we will do is replay one of our previous Sunday conversations that was with our mothers, our Black and brown mothers of the community, since it is Mother's Day. This Saturday, both sides of the conversation. Myself, I will be out there in the community. We will hit some of the Mother Day events with the Baby Y, and from the heart, we're going to be at Indian Basin to help celebrate and support those mothers out there for their special day. And shout out to all of the mothers all across this United States of America for the phenomenal job that you all do with raising our babies and keeping our communities together. We love and support you all. You do so much for us, and I just want to thank all of the mothers and the women of our community that do such a amazing a job for the community and for our young people and for our families, keeping them together and being there and support when things aren't so great. So just wanted to put that out there. So we'll give you guys the information coming up what's going on. Again, everybody that's watching, we will not be playing any more of our live webinars and our Facebook group, our Facebook page, or any one of our other social media handles. If you want to watch like this show tonight, our Thursday education or our Sunday conversation, you will have to go to our YouTube to watch it live to participate. We will be putting the links to the YouTube and our different social media handles so people know how to find us and log in. We definitely want everybody to go like, subscribe, put the alert bell on so that we can have you on there and supporting us. Definitely, we want to keep going as we grow on this platform. As you guys know, there's a lot of changes, a lot of things happening as we're trying to build this platform up. We're a grassroots organization, but there's a lot of things that we want to do to go ahead and impact our community. We are a nonprofit. You can make a donation that will be tax deductible. So please continue to go to our website, support us, click the donate button, donate to help support the work that we're doing in community and with our young people. I think it's very important that we continue to do those services and work for community. And thank you all that have been supporting us with donation, buying some of our both sides of the conversation hats and gear. We have more orders coming for different type of things. I know people been waiting for our hoodies and our shirts and different things. They are coming. Just be patient with us. And we're working on putting up our drop shipping up on our website so that you could just go on there and order your things and have them delivered directly to you. That's been a big concern for people, how to get to the stuff. And I know I and some of the people on our team been getting it out to community. But moving forward, as we start putting our drop shipping and things like that together, we'll be able to move the merchandise and the things that you guys are making donations for out to you faster, and you get to pick what you want. And hopefully we'll have a little bit more color options for community, because I know a lot of people are asking for these special colors, and we're going to have some exclusive colors and for all of our both sides of the conversation. People who have been buying hats, there is a second round of gear that's going to be coming out. Please keep up with your stuff, because each one of these hats has special dates and things on there, and we will be having a surprise for somebody who have one of our special hats. You will be getting a special Cash App donation for having one of our special hats. We're not going to tell you what it is. You'll have to know by your hat. So keep looking out for information, because we'll be having it in our hats, some of our shirts, some of our gear that people have been out making donations for. There are some special information only on a couple of hats. And the people that have those hats will be getting a Cash App donation for us for supporting us. So I just wanted to put that out there. And again, thank you all for the continued support. Again, we are still looking for volunteers to help out as we grow this platform. There's a lot of things. Please reach out to us on our website and volunteer. And to our employers, we have spots on our website where you could post job postings and different business information on our website. And if your HR team wants to reach out to us, we'll give you guys the link and access so that you can post all your jobs, because I know there are employers that's trying to connect our Black and Brown community. So we'll be getting that information to it. Please go to our website. It's a lot of information, a lot of resources. We're putting up all of these Black and Brown businesses. We're trying to connect the community and navigate the community with all of the information. And we have some phenomenal guests that's going to be coming up doing some educational presentations and things for the community that's going to really impact the community as we step into some of our community partners that's going to be doing things for us, like YCD, Black to the Future, Collective Impact, SF Rebels. We have some things that's going to come up to bless our community, and I'm hoping with brothers like Rodrigo and Jaime, we could definitely tie in some programming with them for our Latin community. And then we're going to be reaching out with Vibes and Smiles and trying to do some things for our API community. Just some phenomenal things that's going to be coming up. There's a lot of things in the work. Everything takes time, but we'll get it there. So please keep supporting us. We on all social media handles at both sides of the conversation. The only platform that you'll be able to watch the live segments of our hidden gems, our educational Thursdays and Sundays, will be on YouTube moving forward. But we still have our Facebook page group up. We still have our Instagram, our Twitter, and all our other social media handles and LinkedIn. Please follow us there for information that's going on for the community, upcoming events. Our newsletter should be coming out shortly. We'll be getting out a newsletter to community coming up here in the future. So be looking out for that as well, so you can stay in tune of what's going on when we have events like Jaime and Rodrigo talked about tonight, and some of our other community organizations. They'll start posting their stuff and we'll get it out to community so everyone is connected and know where all the events and the giveaways and things that are happening to bless our communities will be there. So with that being said, thank you all for joining us tonight. Phenomenal two of our amazing hidden gems who came on from our Latin community to talk about Carnival and Samaritan House, some of the resources and things that they're doing for community. We were just blessed and honored to have them on tonight, and we're looking forward to the next week Hidden Gems as well. And we'll see you all this Thursday. Have a blessed evening. Be safe out there and continue to do your part of being a change and making sure community is supported. We'll see you all on Thursday.